American Horror Story.
Uh-huh.
Now, this next thing I'm going to talk about is I did the research not online, but I did it in person when I was 16 or 17 or 18 or 19. When I was a kid, we played a game. We'll call it a ritual. You would sit around the table, whoever you got to play with you, and everybody would stare at the flame of a single burning candle. Now, some people insisted the candle had to be a specific color, red or black or white.
I have never seen no black candle.
You haven't? Really?
Yeah, no.
I guess I need to buy more black candles. Anyway, go ahead, dear.
And everybody would hold hands, kind of like a seance.
Mm-hmm.
But one at a time, you were just staring at the candle flame. That's all each person was doing at the same time. And then you would go around the room and tell people what you saw.
Interesting.
And we called it candle traveling. And most of the people that I played it with saw incredible things. And I remember the first time I played it was probably one of the first times I ever remember being absolutely scared. Just bug mess silly scared. Because I remember just staring at the candle, and then the next thing I knew was one of the girls that had been, she was in tears. And she was trying to explain why she was in tears. And the thing she kept talking about was she saw a black cat. And for some reason, that black cat scared her. Scared her to the point of, like, you ever know when a small child gets really scared and they just refuse to be calmed or soothed?
Oh, yeah.
That was me in the Nutcracker incident.
She was that way. And I don't know. I looked for more information about this online, and I honestly couldn't find it. And so I had to reach out and text people that I haven't spoken to in years. And the few things I've got back was, and it just may be one of those things that was an 80s thing, and maybe it's dead, but it was one of those things that I don't know what happens when you're doing it, but it is very creepy while it's going on.
Gotcha.
Now, one other thing we're going to talk about is the ritual of the Midnight Man.
I feel like I've heard this one too. I've heard almost all of these so far.
Yes. Yeah, you have. Caitlin was talking about it. It's the one of the ones she was talking about.
So did you decide to do this after she told you about it, or?
I looked it up, and when I looked up the official version, it made more sense than what she had said.
Yeah, Caitlin sometimes has a way of explaining things her own way, and it's kind of like, wait a minute, what are you talking about?
So here's the thing. Essentially, what the Midnight Man does is, if it's to be believed,
yes,
it summons a demon or something equally as dark. And essentially, it hunts you through your house.
Fun.
Yeah. So, here's how you play. And again, I'm going to leave out some details.
So you can't play.
But you're going to write your full name on a piece of paper. You're supposed to put at least one drop of your blood on the paper.
If you don't, you cannot play.
Then you turn off all the lights in the room you're doing this. You go to your wooden door, and it's got to be wood. Can't be plastic, but got to be wood. But go to your wooden door, place the paper with your name on it on the front of the door. Now you take out your candle and light it, and you knock on the door a lot. There's a specific number of times. I'm not telling you what number of times. A lot.
No.
You must do it exactly at 12 a.m. on the final knock. So dead on midnight for the last knock. At that point, you open the door, you blow out the candle, you close the door. You just allowed the Midnight Man to enter your home. You immediately relight your candle. This is where the game, if you want to call it that, begins. You must now wander around your dark house with only the lit candle in your hand. Your goal is to avoid the Midnight Man at all costs. How do you know the Midnight Man is close? Your candle will go out, and you have roughly 10 seconds to relight it. And if you can't relight it in 10 seconds, let's hope you have some salt, because you're supposed to spill that in a circle around yourself, and your whole idea is to stay alive till 3:33 in the morning and not get caught by the Midnight Man, because this isn't a game of tag. This is a game of apparently, I'm going to keep your head.
I see.
Or your soul. So don't do
And
this.
this is where we need to reevaluate our idea of the concept of a game.
Yeah, because this is not a very fun game.
Yeah, well, rules are, don't turn on any lights during the midnight game. Don't use a flashlight. Do not go to sleep.
Yeah, no.
Do not attempt to use another person's blood on your name. Interesting thought, but no, don't do it. Don't use a lighter as a substitute for a candle. It won't work. Do not attempt to provoke the Midnight Man. And intriguingly, some of the stories I read said that once you play, the Midnight Man is watching you from there on. The rest of your life, this creepy thing is watching you.
You will always be watched no matter where you go. That's kind of scary. Stalker.
Yeah, stalker by something that doesn't live in your universe. Fun.
Wow.
Yeah, what a game concept.
Wow.
I'm surprised Parker Brothers hasn't picked up on that. Milton Bradley, eat your hearts out. Literally.
Ugh.
Sorry.
If at any point you feel a sudden drop in temperature, you see a humanoid figure that looks like it's made out of darkness, or hear a very soft whispering coming from an indiscernible source, if you experience any of those, leave the area you're in. Midnight Man's nearby.
Mm.
So those are also ways you can tell he's nearby.
I would say, be smart,
Literally.
don't play the game.
Yeah, no.
I would say that doesn't even sound like a game. It just sounds like...
Now, this one's not a legend, but it intrigued me, and I had to include it. And this is where we're going to kind of wrap up as far as the different ideas we've brought forth, or the different games we've brought forth.
Right.
This is called blindmaiden.com.
Don't like that.
Yeah, you shouldn't. It's a website. And supposedly, if you try to go to blindmaiden.com, you'll get one of those messages about, hey, this domain isn't owned. Would you like to buy it? Blah, blah, blah. To access the website, you need to do a few things. Nobody else can be home. You have to be alone. You can't have a light on. In fact, the only thing electronic you can have on is the computer you're using to access the internet. And you have to do it at dead on, bang on, midnight.
Well, of course.
Now, having said that, don't do it. I don't know if there's any truth to this. I strongly doubt that there's any truth to this. But if there is, don't do it. Don't do it.
If there is any truth at all, just don't do it.
So, now, if you've done it right, what will come up is a thing that says, this website will take you to a new level of horror, a horror that will use all 5 of your senses. You must be very careful not to click on anything by accident. You will be faced by a real experience of absolute horror. Click to the accept to engage activity and experience.
I see.
And then it has a choice, accept or decline. Now, supposedly, if you click decline, you can scroll through the website as much as you want. Don't have to worry. That's what I would do. Click decline. That's the best advice right there. Click freaking decline. But if you choose accept,
For some dumb reason.
you will see on your monitor a silhouette walking someplace familiar. And you'll see that silhouette is going towards your home. And you will see it enter your house, enter rooms until it gets to the room you're in. On your monitor, you'll see your own back, and you'll feel a presence behind you. You'll feel a tap in your shoulder, and the last thing you'll see is the face of the blind maiden. After that, she will rip out your eyes and take a snapshot of your face so that you will be forever part of the website's picture gallery.
Yeah, just click decline. That's like really freaking scary.
And so that is our little story on internet legends. Now, I'm sure there's more, and I'm sure if I do some digging, we can probably do a part 2. At the very least, we can cover the Cecil Hotel. At some point, we will talk about the Cecil Hotel and Eliza Lamb and some of the things that I didn't want to deal with in this episode.
I didn't want to make it more dark than it already was.
But here's the thing on most of these. Now, candle traveling, if you want my honest opinion, candle traveling just puts you in your own head. If there's any of these that's safe, I would say candle traveling is the safest one. But
the safest one is for not you not to do anything.
Man, what traumas are in your life? Because really, really, candle traveling is just a way to introduce your own thoughts.
I can kind of see that almost being a low level kind of what do they call that?
Self-hypnosis, almost.
Self-hypnosis, or where you focus and
meditation.
Yes, like a kind of meditation. I can see that kind of being along those lines. You're almost, reaching into your inner self, listening to your inner voices. And for some people that's a good thing. For some people it's a very bad thing. So even something like that can definitely be scary in and of its own right.
Right. Candle traveling depends very much on what's in your head. And it also, just by my observations, depends very much on the imagination of the person doing it. I can tell you now that people I knew that weren't really bright didn't experience anything.
Right.
They thought it was boring. But people that really, dug down deep they came up with something, and most of the time it was kind of spooky. But honestly, it's just a way, if you want my honest opinion, of saying Om and opening yourself up to the universe.
Sure. Yes,
you're opening yourself up to darker forces, but these are at least firmly light gray. They're not black.
Maybe. Hopefully not.
Nobody I know died playing this game. Nobody I know was even long-term traumatized. The closest was the girl, and I don't know what the black cat was about, but it scared her to death.
I think at the end of the day, when you go dabbling in things that are maybe outside of what we can see, be it wherever you fall as far as your religious beliefs or your own personal beliefs, whether you believe these are games or you're just bored and looking for something that might make you jump. When you reach out into the unknown, sometimes you're not quite sure what's going to reach back. And so you have to be careful with that.